The most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity. That quote is by Amelia Earhart. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Bridget Wind. I'm so glad you've joined me today. I am going to share with you how I built my house in Zambia, Africa in 10 weeks. And my goal is to encourage you with your project, whether you've already started or are thinking about starting to build in Africa. Walk around just about any neighborhood in Africa, you will see incredible new builds. But along with that, most likely you will find many abandoned projects. Again, building in Africa is exciting, but it's also very challenging. Though I reside in the USA, I've been involved in construction projects in Zambia for the past 15 years. And recently I built my house in 10 weeks. In this video, I will share with you exactly how I did it. And again, my goal is to encourage you to either start or continue with your building project in Africa. Stay tuned. I'm going to share with you practical pointers that will help you to succeed in your project as well. First off, I want to share with you how I bought my piece of land. But what actually happened was, before I found this piece of land, somebody else was selling. We ended up giving him a down payment and everything looked like it was going to be okay. A few weeks later, this person called us and said that this land wasn't available to us anymore because a politician had decided they wanted that land. So at this point, I thought I was going to lose my deposit. As it turns out, we just happened to show up at this person's office when he had a pile of cash on his desk. Somebody else had just paid him. So we ended up getting all our money back. Now listen, many people have been scammed out of land in Zambia and in many parts of Africa. You have to be extremely careful where you pay your money. Before you buy any piece of land, ensure that the paperwork is appropriate, that the person actually has a title deed and it's a clean title deed. So after we lost that first plot, I was so discouraged and almost giving up. But then one day we just decided to go around. We took a drive and we happened to stop at a guest house. My kids were very young then, and I think I needed to feed one of them, or they were being fussy or something. So we stopped near a guest house. My husband decided to go in and just talk to the people in there, and he asked them if they knew anybody selling land. It just so happened that an agent had left his phone number at this particular guest house and just told the people there, in case somebody is looking for land, feel free to give this phone number to them. So that's how we got that phone number and right away called the number. The person was very friendly and welcoming, and the very next day they took us to see the land, the plot of land, which is actually a nice size, 2 acres, that we ended up buying. But before we paid for it, we made sure we met up with the owner, made sure that all the title deeds were correct and clean. We made a deposit and then we paid for the land and cleared it. We did involve a lawyer to help us get the title deeds. This is important. Practical tip for you: keep away from customary land that is not titled. Make sure your lawyer looks at all the title deeds, all the paperwork, to ensure that you get the right land. When we bought this piece of land, we were actually living in Zambia as a family. Several things happened and we had to move back to the States. That changed everything because now I wasn't on the ground. I got so discouraged about trying to build remotely that I almost gave up on the whole dream. A few things happened. We ended up building our first house slightly into the neighbor's yard. This is because at that point, we actually didn't have clear boundaries between our piece of land and our neighbor's land. We had to break it down. I lost thousands of dollars. I almost gave up. I just decided this wasn't going to happen, so I put up the land for sale. My first offer was from a group of 12 women who were going to subdivide and use it to build their own homes. That was the wake-up call I needed. I realized that my plot was so valuable and it was large enough for 12 people, 10 to 12 people to build their houses. That was all I needed. I decided to pull it off the market and to keep it. Here is a tip for you. Unless you are absolutely sure this is not the time to sell land in Africa, it is too valuable. Big corporations are literally moving into Africa to buy land because it is really valuable. If you think or even believe slightly that you will be able to build something on your piece of land in Africa, don't sell it because it's going to be much more expensive by the time you decide to build. Back to the story. So after I decided not to sell my piece of land, I thought, well, I better do something. I decided to put up a caretaker's home so that somebody would be around 24/7. After that, I decided to build a storage room. It was just a small one-room storage room because you need that. I needed that, and you will need a storage room to make sure you securely store all your material. Other than that, I drilled a borehole. I hired a company to drill a borehole for me so that by the time I started building, I already had water. This is because my plot is not serviced. There's no water, there's no electricity, there was literally nothing. So I had to start from scratch. At this point, one thing that really excited me about the location where I was going to build is the infrastructure that the government had put in. Before this, we had a dusty road. When I went back and found that my road was tarred, that the road to my house was tarred, I knew the value had just gone up. So that was really, really exciting. So after that, I started looking at inspirations for a plan, for a floor plan, house plan for my house. I searched the internet, I watched YouTube, I looked at Pinterest for ideas. Here is a tip for you. Before you take your drawings to a professional, make sure you have an idea of what type of house you're looking for. Find something that works for you. Don't look at somebody else's mansion and decide to build a mansion when you can't afford it. So after I decided on the type of house I wanted to build, I started saving slowly for this project. It took me several years to have enough to even start. As you can see here, I built my house in 10 weeks, but it actually took me about 10 years to really think through what I wanted to do and to save for it. Take your time and come up with a timeline that works for you. This is not a competition. This is your project. The important thing is that you just do something. Whatever you're able to do, whatever phase you can do, go for it. At this point in the story, if you're following, it's now 2021. Almost 10 years after I'd bought this piece of land, and now I felt ready. I flew to Zambia and decided to start building. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you have, please give it a like. There's a second part coming out soon, so be sure to subscribe so that when it's ready, you also will be ready to watch it. In the meantime, I wish you God's blessings and see you soon. Bye-bye.